Hey, this is Coach Kinsey Shae. I'm here with Counselor Bobby Merwin, and
Hello.
we're here on Gen Exploration to kind of just talk about what is keeping you stuck.
What did we come up with like 3 minutes ago? I can't even remember now. I should have wrote it down. Oh,
I know.
geez. I'm getting old. My memory is starting to fade. You got to talk slowly.
I know.
Oh.
Are you stuck, Bobby?
Of course I'm stuck. We got to get unstuck. We got to unstick ourselves, or whatever we said.
I know.
Should have wrote it down.
So
Goodness
for
gracious, it's funny.
for people who haven't joined us before, we're kind of just talking about different perspectives. I'm in the coaching world. Bobby's in the counseling world. We all, we both deal with limiting beliefs and allowing yourself permission to get unstuck in your unstuck.
Unstuck. I mean, if you want to pull out of the stock market now, might not be the worst idea. I don't know. I'm not a financial advisor. I'd say unstuck if it was me.
Yeah. Well, I really think that a lot of people, they keep themselves in a box, meaning that most people tend to, because we're very conditioned to use our logical mind. But what it really limits us, it keeps us in a box because our mind is all conditioned on what we know. So when we're getting away from our comfortability, we are progressing in the unknown. So tapping into your heart, tapping into the wisdom of your intuition, it can open up the possibilities. And in my coaching, I kind of look at it like, okay, are you in the box? Right? I actually did this on my newsletter. But so, okay, we tend to look like, okay, this is in fours, right? And most people, they look at the view as this is what I know, and they ignore their intuitive space. You see all this area, and then if you flip it where you know what you know, but you're looking into your intuitive space, think of this as dotted lines. The possibilities are endless. So if you look at the perspective of, okay, this is what I know, this is what I don't know, that is more of a growth mindset where you can see the possibilities so that we're not stuck in just a limited box. Does that make sense?
It does. That's actually a good representation. And I like your dotted line thing with that. I think that every one of us does that to a point. Some of us do it more than others. And some of us do it to a point where it's almost martyristic. Right. I have a friend that I talked to recently that's having marital issues.
Right.
And they have a spouse that's an alcoholic and is driving the marriage just straight into the ground. And I'm watching this person sink with the ship. And I'm like, you need to get into a lifeboat and get out. You did not create that situation. But they can only see that box, that one box that you were showing us, this one. They can't see the dotted lines. They can't go like, oh, I could go over there.
Yeah.
What is it that keeps it from going there? And that's probably the crux of the day. Is it guilt? Is it martyrdom? Is it fear? I know a lot of mine has been fear-based. And right as I say fear-based, the words TikTok are going to come up again because I've been, fearing that whole doing that, because I feel like an old curmudgeonly man on TikTok and a creeper. Like, I'm going to do a TikTok today. Who says that? Over 50. Come on. Nobody does.
You do.
But it's, I know, but it's that thing. It's that I have had the fear.
Yep.
Of doing that. And
but
I don't like it.
In a box, yeah.
Yes, I have. And that's why I'm using myself as an example. Yes, I have. I've kept myself in that box, and I'm now to the point where I'm like, no, I refuse. I refuse to. So I've been doing at least one every day, sometimes two. And making it happen.
So in essence, you gave yourself permission.
I did. I gave myself permission.
Yep.
Yep. So
Because one of the keys to life is really staying in action and really following your intuition. And the thing
Mm-hmm.
is you can fail forward. I've used that, that phrase a lot because if you try something, you learn. So you act and then you assess and you're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that didn't really work. So then you leverage that knowledge and
Mm-hmm.
adjust, and you
Yeah.
can needle point your way to your destination. But if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have like a dot on the map of where you are, you
Yeah.
can't put in a destination where you want to go. It's going to be unfound. So many people lived in the unfound type of
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah, that's really good that you say that because we all use the old Jeepus,
Yeah.
every almost weekly. And how do you get to your destination if you don't know where you are?
Yep. That's all.
Right? So yeah, that's very good. I like that.
Yeah. It's
You
all
heard it here
awareness.
first from Kinsey.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But the thing is I, you know, a lot of people, they're like, why am I so scared? Why am I so afraid? And it's like, they're not aware of how their brain works. Your ego, its job is to make you feel safe so it triggers your logical mind like, ooh, we've had experience, we had trauma, or we had something really bad happen, so you don't want to do that. But when you expand your awareness, when you're looking from your logical mind to the possibilities of your intuition, you tapped into a more attuned or aligned path
Hmm.
forward. And
Hmm.
uh, and it's scary because it's almost kind of like we breathe oxygen and we don't really think about it. But when you switch to more of a growth mindset and you're looking at the unknown, that energy is there, but you don't see it. So sometimes it's hard to understand how just that shift can make massive changes in your life. When you look at, being uncomfortable as being oxygen, it is necessary to fuel your life to possibilities. That's the key right there. You
Hmm.
know,
And a person doesn't even have to take a big stride. They could just take one move to the side. They could just take one step forward
right.
and check it out and see what it's like and know that they're not putting themselves in any jeopardy here. I mean, think of the first time that you ever had to dive headfirst into a pool,
I was scared
right?
on mine.
I know. You're like, I'm not. You jump into this pool in every which way as a kid. You're running up to it, grab something, fall into the pool. But if you have to go head first, no, I'm gonna die. And then you do this thing where you're trying to dive and you got your hands in front of your face. It's the same thing. We've all watched kids go through it. We do that in the adult world, except it's not with a swimming pool. It's with jobs, or it's with TikTok, or it's with trying to get another degree, or getting out of a relationship, or going to counseling. It
Or
can be
coach.
done. Just take one step, or coaching. Yes.
This is what I tell people, I'm interested, but I don't know. And I'm like, let's just have a conversation. The possibility call that I do, it's just to see if we're in alignment, to see
Hmm.
where you're at, what your goals are, if that matches up with, me. Like, it's just as much for the person booking the call as for me, receiving the booking, because we need to be in alignment, um,
Hmm.
and have very clear goals in
Hmm.
mind of where you want to go.
Hmm.
Mine is more, tapping into your intuitive space, more, really regulating your mind, body, and spirit to attune to a point where you embrace your power.
Hmm.
Because our power comes from two things: making a decision and setting intention. That's where our power is. Most often, a lot of people live in this haze of indecision. And when we're in that
Yeah.
haze of indecision, we can't move forward. because we're in a haze. You know, so setting intention and
Mm-hmm.
focus on a decision, that is imperative to get into that growth mindset, to get into movement,
Mm-hmm.
to get into empowering yourself, to
Good.
really
Yes.
embrace yourself.
So let's play with that metaphor just a little bit because you said something about a haze. I see a fog, so I'm just going to substitute and say fog.
Mhm.
We were talking about the Magellan thing. I don't know why I just said Magellan map thing, MapQuest. Did
Yeah.
I just say MapQuest? What am I,
You did.
77?
Google Maps,
Oh my God, Google Maps, MapQuest.
iPhone Maps.
Hold on. I got to get into my AOL account so I can look at my MapQuest. Get on Netscape. Anyway, I'm dating myself computer-wise. But anyway, what I'm saying is that when you're in that fog,
Mhm.
you don't know which way north is.
No.
You're directionally challenged. So the choice is stay stagnant and just stay there or move in a direction.
Mhm.
Have you ever seen The Princess Bride?
Mhm.
Yeah, this is almost a huge metaphor for this. All of these tasks that he has to
Yeah.
go through to get to where he needs to get to. It's
Mhm.
very simple, but it's just done in, storybook form, but it's the same thing. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's, really, really bad. And sometimes it's not as bad as you thought it would be,
Yeah.
but take the chance.
Take the chance. For people
Take
that
the chance.
haven't seen it, how do you equate it? Because there might be people that haven't watched it, so they're not gonna like touch on
Okay.
like the point.
All right. I usually don't talk to people that haven't seen The Princess Bride, but I'll make an exception at this time. So there's metaphorical situations that they're not even metaphorical, they're real situations that the dread pirate Roberts comes up with that he has to go through to get to his princess. And there's this forest, and then there's this field, and then there's this bridge, and there's these knights, and they're all different battles, is what I'm trying to say. They're different types of battles that you have to do.
Yeah.
Not all the battles are going to be the same. You're going to want to get a different job. Okay, you've got to let this one go and go to the next one. It's ugly, I know. Leaving a job is usually not a pretty sight. Whether it's good or bad, it's usually difficult. But it's something that you have to do if you want to progress. You are doing this and now you want to go on and do this. Then that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
So,
For
yeah.
like being your authentic self, it's really I think a lot of people battle with their emotions because for the most part, especially Gen Xers,
Mm-hmm.
suck it up. Don't get emotional. Don't get,
Mm-hmm.
but emotion is our release. It's our release.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes our nervous system has stored trauma, and we don't even need to know what that trauma is. It might be generational, gestational. It might be from our own life, with traumas. It really doesn't matter at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day. If you
Okay.
release it and you feel better and you feel lighter and you can shine your light, that's where the power is. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yes,
um,
that's true.
it's just, to me, it's just giving yourself permission to do so because we're
Mm-hmm.
so conditioned to stay in that box. I'm going to stuff down all those emotions like that beach ball, and it takes all of your energy, all your life force to keep
Mm-hmm.
it down. And then we wonder why we're depressed, why we're anxious, why we're fearful, why we're not progressing in life is because we're not embracing our whole capacity to be in this world, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
And to touch on that really quick, you said that you have so many things coming in that you can't do the other things. I
Mhm.
get that. We tend to think that we have to solve this in order to do this. Not true. Solve
Either
one of those 5 things coming in, dodge the other 4, move this way, and have them just follow you, and you can deal with them on the way. Maybe they'll be cured by the time you get to that other part of that box that you were talking about.
right.
But take the chance.
I think there's also another way that people cage themselves in is very much about absolute thinking. It's the either or. Like I had a comment on one of my posts. I was talking about self-care and self-love, and somebody out premise it. It's basically they were like, Kinsey, you don't have to be perfect. Me doing my own self-care has nothing to do with perfectionism. Perfectionism, it can be a limiting belief. It's usually based on worthiness. You feel you have to be perfect for other people to validate you. When you're doing self-care, it has nothing to do with other people. It is filling your cup. So it's not an either or. And doing self-care doesn't mean you can't have other relationships. Just to expand on it further. They're like, I like to, because somebody was like, yeah, I like to be with other people. But it's just like the oxygen mask, in the airplane, you put yours on first, you take care of yourself first, and that bleeds out into the relationships. So it's not an either or, it's an and. Meaning,
yes, very good, very good. Yes. And I do like how you struggled with oxygen mask. I thought it was going to be an octopus mask. I'm like, I've never worn one of those. Could you tell me about that?
The octopus mask.
Yeah, exactly. Easy for you to say.
So,
but no, you're dead on. I like the and.
Yeah,
the and is really, really powerful there. It kind of tags into what I was saying about the box, and you have all these things coming at you. You can just walk through those. Walk through them, take one of them with you, solve it along the way, and then other things will go with you as you go into those other dotted areas where you can try and expand and do things different. How many times have people done that in the face of adversity where they've had, they knew that their office was going to be closing in a month or something like that. They got the news.
Yeah.
And the first thing you say is, oh shit, like I don't have my income coming in anymore and I'm used to this job and I'm really comfortable. Now you're thrust into adversity and you've got to go do something different that you don't want to do. Right. And you're afraid, but it turns out okay in the end. And if it didn't turn out okay at that particular one, it will do on the next one.
Well, and I think when people, we could kind of take it to another point, meaning when people wish for or when they pray for something, they ask for what they want, but they really don't energetically feel it as if it happens. So when you ask for something that you don't have, you're validating to the universe that it doesn't exist. So you're repelling it. So if you really embrace the essence of it as it already happened, then you tap into that matrix, that field of possibilities. So a lot of people, they stop their growth, they stop their prosperity by living in scarcity, meaning that there is a lack. You don't have it. So there's no possibility. So you pretty much cage yourself in,
Sounds like a segue to a meme, I think.
I know.
If there was one, I got to move my screen so I can see it. There it is.
There we go. The cage is open. You can fly out anytime you want. Why are you still there?
And the cage is all I know.
Yeah.
The cage is all I know.
Yeah.
Yep. I have people like that in my life. I was like that. I've had times in my life. We all have.
Yep.
Where we're doing that, especially as children. It's like we're in this little safe vestibule and we're just going to stay here and rock back and forth. Nope.
Yeah. And I think another key point is growing up with strict parents. That is a form of a trauma because you feel limited. You feel like you can't be yourself. I was very much brought up in a strict Catholic household, and it was all
Okay.
about other people's expectations. This is the way
Mm-hmm.
it's done. Very stringent belief systems. And
Mm-hmm.
this isn't to poo-poo
Yeah.
on religion. It's just my experience. So you can live in that trauma, and then you don't feel like your authentic self really matters, because it's all about expectation, beliefs, and what you're supposed to do, instead of intuitively figuring out what your values are, and it, really dropping down into your internal wisdom to guide you.
Mm-hmm.
Because most often the beliefs of, whether it be religion or any other organization, they're not going to be in alignment completely with your values. You know what I mean? Yes, I go to church still, but I very much know my values. So if they speak about something that's not in alignment, I don't throw it away, the baby with the bathwater. You know what I mean? I take
Mm-hmm.
what serves me, but
Right.
I don't dim my light in those circumstances when I'm speaking about my truth, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a lot of people feel stifled because they feel that they can't speak their truth in certain circumstances, like religion, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, the
So
whole religious thing does lend itself to that. When you were saying something about growing up in a Catholic household, the expectations are going to be, I don't know, I'd say stringent, not necessarily high, but there's going to be a lot of them. There's going to be a lot of those boxes that you put up earlier.
yes.
So, yeah.
So, I mean, I know from my experience, I felt very stifled. I felt very, because I was told, you're too much, Kinsey. You just need to calm down. And, because I would just joke about stuff or whatever, and it was not appreciated by the nuns or.
Nuns are often known for their vast sense of humor. Yeah.
Some were awesome. I mean,
I'm sure.
yeah. This is a funny fact. When I grew up, I grew up across the street from a convent, and my church was just like a block away.
Mhm.
And so I was very immersed in that. And when I was going through my teenage rebellious whatever, like, my parents were gone, and I had a party, and it was hilarious just seeing all the nuns just watching, like, look at her. They never told my parents. I mean, they never
Yeah.
did, but I was their entertainment for the night.
Mhm. They probably didn't tell your parents because you were the entertainment. They wanted to keep that going. Mm-hmm. We don't have cable, but we have Kinsey. Hey, check out what she's doing. Oh my God. I think her friend's top's off again. I can't believe this. Yeah.
No,
Mm-hmm.
growing up, I didn't really like it that I was so close, because I felt very stifled with that.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back at it, it was just such a blessing. Like, if I got locked out of the house or if something happened, I could just go over there
Mm-hmm.
until my parents came home, because it was Gen X. I mean, your parents were at work, so a lot of time you were by yourself.
Oh God.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So much.
yeah,
Your Catholic story versus my kegerator story is kind of the same thing. I was the kid in the block. My dad had the only kegerator for a mile.
right.
Seriously. And for those of you who don't know what a kegerator is, because you're not Gen X, it is a refrigerator that you have gutted and put a keg in it and
Yep.
put the nitrous system in it, or the CO2 system in it, so that you could just put a hole in the door and use it as a tap. It's called a kegerator. And my friend, and it was in the garage, my friends would come over and go, dude, is that a kegerator? Yeah. Can I have one? No. Oh my God, what are you, stupid? No. What? He's never gonna know. I'm like, I'll know.
Right.
And then one time it got around the high school that my parents were leaving for the weekend. And this kegerator is like a month old. So it just went around the school like, hey, Merwin's parents are leaving for the weekend. Let's go bang on his door until he lets us in. Literally had like 14 kids outside of my house banging on doors and windows. And I did not let them in. And the neat thing was, the thing I'm getting to is my neighbors were watching me like the nuns.
Yeah.
And it was their entertainment. And they did say something to my parents because it was positive.
Yeah.
Because they said he didn't yield. He didn't let him in.
Yeah.
And it carried a lot of weight.
Right.
But yeah, know what you're doing. I'm going to circle this back around to something about that cage by far. Don't let that beer put you in a cage. There, that's it. That's it. That's what I'm doing. Don't drink yourself into a beer cage. No, expand your horizons, take a gander, take off the blinders, ask people around you. That's what I did. And also ask people around you, not necessarily that you love, but that you trust, very much. I've got a couple of people in my life, you included, that I've asked some questions of about my knowledge, skills, and abilities.
Yeah.
To make sure that I was in scope. And I wasn't. I was in my scope. But I was informed that I have different and better abilities in areas and I should push those forward.
Right.
And it was a hard inventory to take because it's fearful. Again, don't leave the cage because it's fearful. But I had to because I wanted to expand. I wanted to get out of the cage and do something different. Because you and I were talking about transition just the other day about how, I have a counseling practice and I like that. And I've been doing it for 15 years. But I'm trying to transition into something bigger and better to where I can counsel on a broader spectrum.
Right.
And you kind of doing the same thing with this.
Right.
And it's scary, isn't it?
Yes.
But we're going to do it.
We'll
cry to each other. This is sad and scary. But it is. It really is.
Well, the thing is a lot of people think that, they have to validate or get permission to do something from, their loved ones and whatever. Mm-hmm. I would press upon people that your loved ones are there to love you. They're not there to guide you in your life because they come from the same limiting beliefs that you come from.
So you're absolutely right. You are.
So, they're going to guide you in that way. So for me, the biggest key was asking for help the first time that, I've done counseling, I've done coaching, but the one profound moment I had when I was deciding whether to hire a coach, it was one of the first coaches I hired. And I was scared, right? I was super scared to make that investment. Is this really going to help me? And I said to him as an objection, I'm just like, well, I've always done this and I don't know any other way, so this is who I am. How many of us have said, this is who I am? Well, why are you here? Why are you, trying to change if you like who you are? And that's pretty much what the coach said. He's like, if you're happy the way you are, then that's cool. But there's a reason why you booked this call, because there's something intuitively telling you that something needs to change.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
He's just walking you right into it. Come on, walk right into the trap. Here we go. Yeah, I love it.
Like when you told me that, I was like,
yeah. Well, I've never done that as a counselor in my life, ever. Never done that. Yeah, just walk them right into the pitfalls. Like, okay, now you're in there. Tell me how it's going.
And it's not manipulation. I'm going to put that word out there. Manipulation is not a bad word.
No, it's not a bad word. And I disagree because it is manipulation, but it's positive manipulation.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So, a lot of people, it's just looking at where those come from your beliefs. So you probably heard it like, oh, they're manipulating, they're whatever. And it's always been in the premise that it was bad, but you can manipulate people to do good. So manipulation, it goes into that either or thing. It's an and. It can be negative and it can be positive. Most things in life can be positive and negative, especially like our coping mechanisms. Like, what is your intention when, like, let's just, since you already brought in the kegerator with drinking, is your intention to just have a drink to be in celebration? Are you anchored to just numbing out? You don't want to feel, because your intention makes it a positive or negative. Because, I mean, a lot of people, they go out and they're in celebration, they have a drink. That's not a negative. You're not numbing out. You're in celebration. But if your intention is like, this is a really shitty day and I just don't want to feel anymore, you might not say feel. I just want this day to be over. That's what most people say.
I'm not rolling my eyes at you. I'm thinking about the 100 clients that have said that to me. Like, I just want to get home and, have a 6-pack and numb out. And I'm like, nope, wrong.
Well, because it weakens your resilience muscle. You can't, because you flip-flop, because you have your window of tolerance, but you have the hypoactive where you get angry, whatever, you get activated. And then underneath it, you have your hypo where you want to numb out, where all your coping mechanisms are. So you always keep it closed, like your resilience, your window tolerance. We want to increase that so you can dance in it.
Got your walk like an Egyptian thing going on there. I thought you were talking about your resilience in drinking when you started this conversation, or when you started that thing. I'm like,
no,
Kinsey,
I'm talking about
where are you going? Okay, look, so you need the condition.
Muscle.
Start with 2 beers a night, go to 3 the next week. I thought that's what you were saying. I'm like,
no.
And that was only a fleeting thought, and it was very funny because I know that you wouldn't actually do that, but it did pop into my mind for a second. But yes, you do want to have that window, like you were talking about, and be able to dance in it. And having the 6 beers when you come home from work, that doesn't do that. That just fogs that window.
Yeah.
Doesn't
you can't even really see through it. Like, what's your view when it's like this? But
I can't see through it anyway.
Right?
Who's out there? Hello?
So,
if you're out there, get me another beer.
This is just a pure invitation just to kind of see and look at, to take stock in your life where you are stuck. You can journal it out. There's magic when you journal, because it really
so much.
Yeah, because it gets,
and I roll my eyes.
Yeah, it gets what is in your mind. It flows. The energy flows through your hand, and you put it on paper.
And I wanted to say, I roll my eyes not at you, but at the strength of what you just said. Because again, in the cage, I was thinking journaling. Oh God, what am I, 12? Am I a 12-year-old girl? Am I going to get something with a locket or something? Oh my God.
But that's a limiting belief,
Journal. Write it down. Let it out through a pen, please. I mean, I'll even say let it out through a keyboard if you want, but I don't think that it does as well. But, just write it out, like some of the things that you think and feel, and you'll be amazed at what you read back, right? Yeah.
There's even in power with, like, if you use like your notes and you journal there, if you have like a fleeting thing and you want to capture it, just stick it into your notes and read through it. A up level is, because I think there's power when you kind of flow it through your hand. Even if I speak it like that, I'll envision me writing it out and letting it flow out, because it just energetically releases it. Because we have mirror neurons, and it doesn't know if you're actually writing it out or not. You know what I mean? So you can have moments where you can just, grab a quick voice note, but listen to it later and think about writing out those words and just writing it like on pen and paper. Like, how does it feel? How does it take, when you're doing it, really embrace all of the feelings, because that's when we can embrace the feelings, that's where the power is. That's where we can shift our energy. Going back to most people, when they pray or when things happen, they ask, but they don't feel. And we can learn a lot from indigenous communities, because like when the Indians do, like they always think of like the rain dance, but they also really step into the feeling as if it's raining. They don't ask for, rain. They feel the rain. And that's just tapping into the energy of possibility.
And you said something about letting it, when you couldn't write it, you kind of imagined, or whatever you said. I'm paraphrasing. Yeah, in your mind's eye, that you were writing it out. I didn't understand until I was made to do it. As some of you know, I'm also a certified drug and alcohol counselor. And I've been doing that for about, 17 years. I had went to many meetings, just to go to meetings to be supportive of my community, to learn things from meetings and so on and so forth. And I talked to somebody about what they were saying about journaling. And there was somebody new, and they said, you need to write it. Don't type it. You need to write it. Right. And they were kind of balking at it because they're like, I can type 8 times faster than I write. Right. And then the guy said, that's not the point. And it was the way that he said it that made me go to him afterwards.
Right.
And I talked to him, and he said, the pain that you feel when you're writing and you can't get it out fast enough is part of the process.
Well, the thing is irritation. Irritation is an invitation to transformation.
Whoa, whoa, oh, Camel, whoa, hold on. Say that again. What do you call that? I mean, it has all the same, and it's an alliteration. Tell me what it is again. Irritation. Irritation is an invitation to transformation.
Yes.
I'm going to fit that into my day somewhere.
Yep.
I'm going to fit that in somewhere. I'm going to fit that into my day. Oh my gosh.
And irritation gets you in action. So you make a declaration, I will do this or I will not. And then you lead into the action, inspired action. It's not anchored to your condition. It's not in, your conditional mind. It's anchored to your desire, to your internal wisdom. And this is where we create evidence, where we put breadcrumbs, if you will, because at the end of the day, we can reflect upon, okay, that didn't quite go as well as I thought. I can adjust this. I can leverage my knowledge. But if you stay in that bird cage, you just see the bars and you stay stuck.
That's it. That's a good closer right there.
If you
stay in that bird cage, you just see the bars.
Yep.
And we don't mean drinking bars, just so you know, people. Come on now.
Bars.
We just see the bars. Hold on.
You stay in the box.
Yep. You stay in the box.
Tap into your internal wisdom and open it up and go past.
Right. Next time we'll have better graphics. We'll put some pen on there and show dotted lines. We'll spend upwards of 4 to 7 cents on our graphics.
No, I had it here and I'm like,
I know. No, it's a good metaphor. You just used it and utilized it. I love it. But I'm just joking with the whole, we need to put dotted lines around where those folds are. That'll be perfect. We'll do that.
I know.
Yeah. We'll have the graphics department take care of that.
So this is just a pure invitation to gain awareness and perspective, looking at it from a man-woman perspective, looking at it from a Gen X perspective, and, from a coach counselor perspective. So, like, subscribe, do all that fun jazz. Please put your aha moments, what stood out to you, what you would like us to talk about. Share some, I don't know why I can't say me. I don't know why I can't say it. We all have words we can't say.
It never gets old. I'm so sorry. I don't want to make fun of you, but you cannot say the word meme.
I know.
This is so funny.
You know what? The majority of us have words we buff up.
I was telling you the other day, like that service called Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, as soon as I saw it, it was spoofity.
Spoofity.
And I could not stop saying spoofity in my head. And then I'd look at it and my daughter would say she's on Spotify and I'd go, what is spoofity? And then I had to explain it to her that I see spoofity every time I say it. And I can't not do it. If I see the word, I say spoofity. So we all have those things. It's just funny that you have it on a 4-letter word.
I know.
And the word me is in there twice.
I know. Mimi.
I called it a mimi when I first saw it. What's a mimi?
Which is hilarious because, I'm a psych RN, so I can say all these crazy Latin words and whatever.
Yes.
But a little it's all good.
The 4-letter word throws you off.
Own your truth, my friends.
Yeah, that's right. You know what? Kinsey is coming forth with the pain right here. Own it. She's owning this.
Own it. Build that resilience.
So the moral of today is learn how to say meme and get out of the cage. Yep. That's it.
All right.
Okay.
We will see you guys all next week. I hope you enjoyed this. Like, subscribe, do all that fun jazz, and we will see you next week.
Sounds great. See you then.